So if you open your notes, okay, so getting to know Adobe Flash. So launching the program, when Flash or Adobe Animate is launched, the welcome screen displays. This screen provides quick access to the most recently opened files and shortcuts for creating new documents. In addition, this screen can be used to access useful support documentation and video tutorials. To launch Flash, click on the start button and you can navigate and open your software. So this is the updated version of what we have from the notes. Okay, this is I think CS5 or CS6. So this is what we have now, right? So we have, it's similar to like Photoshop and Illustrator and also InDesign, but here we have so animation will be mostly displayed, not mostly, all the time it will be displayed on screens, right? So you'll have to select your screen size. So you can see you have some, you have HD, okay, it's 120 by 720. Then you have full HD, that's 192 by 180, and then 4K, okay, 380, 3840 by 2160, and then you have your standard. So depending on want to what you are creating and for what you are creating, okay, you can choose your size. Another one here you have for social media, okay, so it gives you sizes for like if you want to put it on Facebook, right? But I'm not really sure if Facebook is supporting videos in their covers now, okay, but for posts you can use it, right? So if you want to small, large landscape for Twitter, for YouTube, okay, and then gaming. If you want to have it for phones as well, education, ads, web, and advanced. Okay, this is for mostly if you want to use it in your website or something, right? So the presets are pretty much clear, okay, and then you have some sample files here, right? So creating a new Flash document in Flash, a new document can be created from the welcome screen or from the file menu. Use one of the methods below to create a new document, right? So basically, I think we just use the standard one. Okay, let's go to say the first one, 120p, and then create, sorry, click create. So basically, this is um, uh, your canvas or your stage. Okay, here this is called stage. This is where your animation will look, and you have your properties and your timeline. Okay, and this is where most of the actions will happen, so that you can see the results here, right? So we, for this, what it's saying, okay, the auto script, okay, action auto script 3.0. Before, I don't know if you guys know, there used to be a thing called Flash Player. Okay, so that has been obsolete. Okay, it's now obsolete. You no longer use Flash Player for you to play animation. Okay, with that you have the new thing that came up was the HTML5. HTML5, what it does is the animation is embedded in the coding of the website, right?
Oh,
And yeah, so for that, you do not need an external party like an external plugin such as Adobe Flash for you to play your animations.
so sir, if you send the video, we can just put the link up in the coding part and the whole video will just play in our
Uh,
website.
what happened?
So like after like making an animation stuff, we just have to save it and put the link in the code, and it will play the whole video.
Yes, it basically you create your flash animation here, and then once you save it, you'll have
Mm-hmm.
to code it your in your website. But as you can see here, you have platforms. Okay, so if you want it for CS5 canvas,
Yeah.
so I think once you save, it'll give you it's more flexible with your codes now.
Hmm.
Okay, once you do it in the, like, I personally one the last time I used Flash in a website was when we had to use Adobe Flash. Okay, so since HTML5 has come, I have not used Flash with a website.
Hmm.
All right.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys do remember it, when we were in university, when we used to use YouTube, you had to have Flash Player installed for that YouTube player to open and show us the you can stream videos on it. But now what happens is that whole player is embedded in the coding.
There used to
You
be
have
there's still also another one. I forgot the other one's name.
other one,
There's
which one?
two. I don't know. I'm not so sure if I'm in the correct part or not.
The
But
the other one you might be having is like use JavaScript.
I'm not
Okay,
sure.
you can also use JavaScript. Java has plugins as well, which you can use to run in your website for those things to come up.
Hmm.
Okay, like if I go to the FNU website,
Yeah.
okay, these pictures here that you can move. Okay, this is all in JavaScript. It's not an animation that you have, right?
Yes,
You
this is JavaScript.
Yeah, this is JavaScript. You set timers
You
and you
make the
just
time.
upload the images of that size, and they will continuously, after that time, it will continue, it will move,
Hmm.
right? Right, so any arrangement of these elements is called a workspace. Users can adapt the program to the way they work by selecting from several preset workspaces or by creating their own workspace. The main element of the Flash default workspace are the stage, okay, this part near the white portion, the timeline thing at the bottom here, the application bar on top, this, the property inspector, the library panel, and the tools panel. Okay, here you will notice the tools is just right on the right hand side. Okay, but you can move it. Oops, sorry, you can move it on the left side if you do not like it. If you do not like it on the right hand side. So you can drag it and put it here as well if you do not like it that way. So it depends on you. Right then, panels help users streamline the workflow by giving them easy access to many of the most commonly used features in Flash. Many panels include a menu with additional options that can be accessed by clicking the menu icon in the upper right corner of the panel. Right, the library panel is used to store and organize symbols created in Flash as well as imported files, included bitmap graphics, sound files, and video files. So you can import all those kinds of files in your Flash or Animator program and create your animation. Right, to display the library panel, Windows and library. So we already have the libraries panel. Okay, this is where you will see your whatever you import will be shown here. And from there you have to bring it to your stage. And then property inspector, okay, the property inspector provides quick and easy access to the most commonly used attributes of the currently selected elements or tools. The option available in the property inspector depends on the current selection. To display the property inspector, click on Windows and select property inspector. So we already have this, that is the properties that we have. Right. And the tool panel contains a group of selection tools, drawn and type tools, painting and editing tools, navigation tools, and tool options that are used to create and modify object graphic objects. So tomorrow I will upload the detailed version of all the tools that they do. Okay, there's some of the tools that are there. Most of the tools you already know from Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, but some are the new tools. So I'll upload a list of all the tools with what they do. And the stage is the rectangular area where users place graphic contents when creating Flash documents. What displays on the screen on the stage depends on the layer and frame that selects in the timeline. Right? Changing the property inspector, users can change the properties of new existing documents. To change the document properties in the property inspector under properties, click edit and next to size the document properties and the dimensions. So basically what it is telling is you can change the size of your screen anytime, okay, of your the size of your stage. So if you are say working on something and suddenly they say, oh no, it is like around 800 by 600, okay, you can just click and change the size. Also you have a frame rate, okay, so by default it is 24 frames per second. You know how frame rate works, right? Yes, no?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
So like people who do not know, this one here is one frame. Okay. So in 1 second, you'll have from here going up till here. That's 1 second. So this many frames will be played in 1 second. So basically that is how videos are shot, movies are created. Okay. So if you want to change that, you can do that as well. If you want it to say 30 frames, 40 frames or whatever. Okay. The default will just put it as 24. Okay, then click the background color control and then select a color from the swatch and enter the color hexadecimal values in the box. Right to stage, you can change the color as well. Just click here and then choose what color you want. Okay. Right, working with layers. Layers here, this is where layers comes in Flash. Okay, so if you want to create more layers, there'll be more layers created with your keyframes. Okay, here each of this is called a keyframe. Okay, if I say keyframes, I am referring to these small those blocks. Like layers help users organize the artwork, animation, and other elements in a Flash document. When a document has multiple layers, users can draw and edit object on one layer without affecting objects on another layer. To work with the layer, it must first be selected in the timeline to make it active. A pencil icon next to a layer in the timeline indicates that the layer is active. When a new Flash document is created, it contains only one layer. Users can easily add, delete, rename, hide, lock, or arrange layers. Right? Basically, if I click on this dot, okay, it is not this layer will not be visible. And then if I click on this lock here, that means this layer is now locked. So I can't do anything on this layer. Right? It'll be more visible when I do the practicals, okay, with you. Renaming layers, if you want to rename a layer, just double click on that and then you can just rename a layer. Sometimes in here it is good to rename layers because you will know which element is on which layer. Right. So getting to know Flash animation. So the Flash timeline, okay, what separates Flash from any other graphic program is the ability to generate a file that changes over time, where these changes develop in the timeline. The timeline is developed into, sorry, divided into two areas. You have layers and the frames to the right. So you have layers and you have your frames. Even the most basic animation may well consist of multiple layers. All animations by definition may contain multiple frames. Animation begins playing in from the frame 1 and marches to the right. Okay, the speed at which your animation plays is controlled by the frame rate. Okay, FPS is frames per second. Okay, the speed FPS is adjustable. So whenever you click, once you have done your animation here, you click play, it will always go in this direction. Right. Types of frames. As you develop your animation, you will be developing your timeline, but it's layers and both layers and frames. All the visual graphics used in your animation must be held within keyframes. There are some variations of the keyframes you may make and see during development, right? So this is a blank free keyframe. At the moment we have blank keyframe, there is nothing here. Okay, if I press F5, you get your keyframes, okay? So blank keyframes are either auto-generated by Flash in the first frame of new layer or by you, the animator. Blank keyframes have the potential to hold content. Basically, what you do is when you have a keyframe, that is where action will happen or action will start, or action will end. Right? Let's open this one.
So with this, we can create a whole cartoon movie, something like that.
Yes, you can.
Where just adjust the layer and go.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. If I zoom out, if I play this one, just a simple animation, right? So I've seen the animation. So if I go down here, this is what has happened here. This is what was playing. You can see dots, empty keyframes. There's something in the keyframe. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So don't be scared when, like, tomorrow when I do the practical, so I'll explain you how and what each of these things mean. It is very easy to get confused. Let's take one thing at a time.
This sort of reminds me of that. Do you know there was this situation like there was this time when people used to draw a flip book,
Yes, yes,
animation in
yes.
it, you'll flip
Hmm.
it and then the correct.
Yeah. All right. So then you have the filled keyframes. So here you have a lot of filled keyframes. Like here, each keyframe has something, some animation there, right? So a filled keyframe is the one that you, the animator, has added content to. Filled keyframes may also be auto-generated by Flash. Blank keyframes symbol turns into filled keyframe symbol as soon as you add content to them, right? Then this is a keyframe span. Okay, in English, the keyframe span to the left is like saying to Flash, okay, Flash, I want you to continue displaying the content which is placed in the keyframe from 3 to additional frames. Okay, something like what we have here. Okay, you want that effect to be from this frame to this frame. Continue playing. Or here, the ball is still steady from here to here, and then from here you have content. Yeah. Okay,
Mm.
right. Then definition. Okay, ease option. Okay, easing is an process of controlling motion twin in Flash. Okay, easing can be further classified into ease in and ease out. In ease, the motion begins slowly before gaining speed as time progresses with a positive value, and in ease out, it happens exactly opposite with a negative value. Right. So you have two types of symbol. Okay, movie symbol and a graphic symbol. So the difference between a graphic symbol and a movie clip is that a movie clip behaves more like a GIF than it does a controllable aspect of your animation. A movie clip has its own timeline with the symbol, but you don't have much control over it once it's placed into your main project. A movie clip will run on its own as you can move it around and animate it, but it will play out independently on other animation. Graphics, a graphic symbol I found comes in handy much more often. They do have their own timeline with their symbol. Only the benefit is them is when you can have complete control if you want it to play out the animation or if you want it to be a still frame or jump around frame to frame within the symbol timeline, right?